Hey, once again, you have fallen straight into Hella Vella. This is Azriel Lawless, and I've got another Lawless interview for you. Today, we're going to talk to Chris Love, who writes on Kindle Vella as C.A Love. Say hi, Chris.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
You bet. You bet. I'm looking forward to talking to you. Um, I got to tell you guys, Chris writes a story called The Adventures of Super Dick. And I told him I was going to just let him go ahead and say it so he could say Super Dick. But, and I probably will. Okay, Chris, tell us about the Vellas that you write out there. Let's start with Super Dick, shall we?
All right. So, The Adventures of Super Dick is a creation that came about because I became a little frustrated by seeing some of these adult animated cartoons make it so good on Netflix and whatnot. I was like, these things are so silly, so crazy. How can they be so popular? So I was like, I'm just for fun, I'm gonna create a story that is the dumbest, the craziest thing I can think of. And I'm just gonna have fun with it. It started off initially as just an outlet, kind of like when I get writer's block and I need to get away from what I'm really working on. I would go to Super Dick and I'd create new characters. I'd create new ideas for stories down the line. Eventually, it evolved into The Adventures of Super Dick, which is now 17 episodes deep on Kindle Vella. And it's become one of my main things to do. It's so much fun working on it because there's so little. Because the point is it's to be offensive, it's to be uh, fun and really low pressure. Unlike other stuff you write, you want to make sure every little detail is exactly correct. With Super Dick, I completely pants it. I'm a discovery writer with it. I don't outline. I just write and figure out the episode as I go. And I'll be writing it. And then I'll make sure I'll put it into my editing software and make sure I got commas where they should be and whatnot. And then I'll publish it. It's just really fun. So
And
yeah,
so,
The Adventures of Super Dick.
and see, now because of that, I skipped the first question and everything. I was just so eager to say The Adventures of Super Dick that I skipped my first normal question. So I'm going to
All
go
right.
back and
All right.
ask you my first normal question. And that is, when did you get started writing?
All right. I think the first thing, say I watched some of your previous interviews and I really thought about this because I wanted to be honest about it. I think I started writing when I was around 8 or 9. And the funny thing is, I remember writing a story. It was a story where a kid had to go on a vacation and his best friend, couldn't come with him. So they were, upset about that. And on the kid that was going on vacation on his way out of town, he drove past his friend's house, which was on fire. So he had to jump out of his moving car because his parents wouldn't believe him that the house was on fire. So he had to jump out and run in and save his friend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
And that was your
that's
first, that was
that's the
your
first
first
thing.
story?
That's the first thing I ever remember writing. I had to have been around 8 or 9 maybe. The funny
Wow.
thing is, I spent a lot of time over at my grandparents' house, my granny and papa, and so naturally Larry King was in my house. So the character was his name was Larry King.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, that's the first thing I ever wrote. That's when I started, and that evolved into me writing fan fiction with things like Justice League and the Avengers and X-Men from comics because as I got a little older, 10, 11, 12, 13, I was really into comics. So I
Right.
started writing stories encompassing all these characters. And I remember being a kid and having the idea that I wanted to be a published author. I remember telling my folks that someday I'm gonna have a book published. And actually they're like, oh, that's great. Okay. And I had no idea how or what or who I didn't know what that meant, but I was like, I'm gonna have a book published someday. And then eventually I did. In 2019, I published my first novel on KDP.
Cool.
And the first book I ever published is called City of Red Part 1. It's a organized crime fiction novel with elements of urban fantasy.
Now, what's it called again?
City of Red Part 1.
City of Red.
Yes.
Okay. And of course, we'll have links to Chris's books as well as his Vellas in the description on this video. City of Red, Part 1, right?
Yes.
All right. 2019.
And that's in 2019. And then in 2020, I followed up with the sequel, City of Red Part 2. And that was just 1 year later. So the funny thing is, Part 1 took me 10 years to write and publish. Yeah, and oddly, in my experience of learning about the whole self-publishing process, I found that's not an odd thing. It's taken a lot of authors many years to publish their work, and I thought that was such an odd thing, but it's kind of a comforting thing, kind of, to find I'm not the only one in that boat. But the next one only took me a year to write and to get published.
Right. You find that's true too. Is that
Yeah.
once they finally kick the stool out from under and they're swinging, it only takes a little while to get that second one out.
Yeah. I think I was married to my wife about the entire time I was trying to write City of Red Part 1. And almost the entire time she was telling me to either, SHIT or get off the pot. That's what she kept telling me. And eventually I did, and I didn't get off the pot. I made the book, published it. And Part 2 followed quickly 1 year later. And Part 3 is going to probably come out next year, depending on how this Vella thing shakes out. Because I'm having a lot of fun with that, with the 2 Vella stories and other ideas I have.
I know you got 2 Vella stories. And so we'll go on now into Vella, talk about Vella. And you've already told us about the adventures of Super Dick a little bit. Mm-hmm. And what I want to know is, when did you hear about Vella? Do you remember where you first heard about it and when you heard about it?
Yeah, I think I was sitting in my living room just checking my email, and I had an email from KDP about something called Kindle Vella. It was probably the first email they sent out, maybe. It was way before Vella went live. There was plenty of time to write and get stuff. You could go on the website and actually get things published, and then it would go live once Vella activated,
Right.
And I didn't really do that. I kind of just piddled around and kind of just kept writing on my own on my computer here. And then eventually I finally did what my wife always told me. I did what I had to do and published it. It's been a great thing. It's really the community around Vella and some of these Facebook groups has been amazing, uplifting, really nice and amazing people. It's almost as if every single person in this one particular group understands the struggle and sympathizes with the other author. It's
yes.
There's not crickets when you go into this one group I go into. You have people just feeling like they're surrounding you, supporting you. And
right. There's several of those groups, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
There's I can think of 2 or 3 of them right off the top of my head. And I hope Hella Vella is that way. I hope Hella Vella on Facebook is that way, because that's the companion group to this channel, and that's what it's all about, is helping each other.
Yeah.
You
give more than you take. That's what I say.
That's a pretty good motto. And if we all did that, just imagine where we'd be. Yeah. So I don't want to give too little billing to your second Vella. I want you to tell me about that.
It's called Eliza Ducard and the Forgotten Gods of Light. It's a fantasy fiction / sci-fi. I'm not going to speak on the sci-fi part because it's a big secret. I don't want to spoil the ending of the book.
Okay.
So it's primarily fantasy fiction, traditional dragons, orcs, uh, you know, elves, all kinds of stuff. I kind of picked from the Tolkien kind of characters. I picked from Greek mythology a little bit. There's griffins and things like that. There's mermaids because my son loves mermaids. I mentioned my son because his name is on the cover with my name. If you look on the cover at the
Yes.
bottom, yeah, it says C.A Love and Connor Love. And Connor is my 11-year-old son. He's about to be 12. And the book is really inspired by him because of him, because of his love for fairy tales. He loves that show Once Upon a Time. Uh, he just really has this infatuation with magic and the idea of love and the magic of it kind of.
Oh, how
So
cool.
yeah, so that really inspired me to create this book. That and my kids can't read the mafia books that I've written because they're underage. So I really want to write a book that they can read and take to school and show their friends and that would be kind of cool. So yeah, so his name's on the front of the cover with mine, and the story follows a young girl and a young boy. The girl's name's Eliza Ducar. She's the princess of Delorne, and the boy's name is Ezra Discardi. He's the stepson of a local baron, Baron Grasto von Der. And in fairy tales, think Cinderella, we hear about the evil stepmother. Well, Grasto von Der is the evil stepfather.
I see.
And there's some serious tension between him and his son, Ezra Discardi. And what happens is Ezra goes missing one night after running away from, after having a fight with his stepfather. He goes missing that night. And he supposedly dies because they can't find his body anywhere. Very long story short. Uh, but Eliza has always had this feeling inside of her, like she really cares for him. She thinks it might be love or something like that. She doesn't really know what to call it because she's only 10 years old right now.
Right.
But when he's not there, she's not happy, you know? And to me, that is love to me, you know?
Right.
And she gets it in her 10-year-old mind that she's going to find Ezra. He's not dead. I'm going to find him. And when I find him, I'm going to bring him back. And so she convinces her cousin to train her like a DeLorean guardian.
Cool.
And in DeLorean, women aren't supposed to carry swords, fight, things like that. They can teach, they can bestow knowledge, but they're not allowed to fight or hold political offices or anything like that. So she ends up shaving her head because she realizes that long hair, what she had was really long, brown, and beautiful,
Mhm.
was a liability. And fighting, her long hair could be another way her enemy could get the overhand and grab her hair and beat her. So she shaved her head. That's how serious she was. And
Oh,
so on the cover of the book, you actually see Eliza underneath a tree and hanging on the branches or wig. And she's just sitting there with a sword and a shaved head. And it's that image is just really cool with me. It's
oh, cool.
just defiance and her will and stuff like that. I've kind of been surrounded by strong women, my mom and then my wife. So I write women as really badass women. I don't like damsels in distress, you know, too much. So if you ever read anything that I do, you'll see that. Uh, um, Flash forward 6 years later, Eliza hears a rumor that there's this boy in the woods, and she's like, "That's him. That's Ezra. It's got to be. What other boy could it be?" So, very long story short, it feels like I'm leaving out tons of details, and I feel like this sounds
You
horrible.
need to.
But
You need to because you want
she
people
ends
to
up,
read this.
yeah, she ends up striking out on her own. She's not supposed to, she strikes out on her own to go into the hollow. That's the name of the forest where the boy was last seen. And thus ensues an adventure where uh, she uncovers secrets of a past long forgotten, of a time where these monstrous shadows roamed the land and they fought against the gods of light. Uh, you'll learn that things evolve the way they are in the book because of a war that occurred uh, hundreds of thousands of years earlier, and she will end up having to face the boy that she uh, wanted to bring home. So she'll have to face him in a fight that may end up in the death of someone. That's yet to be seen.
Interesting. And so how many episodes are you into that one?
22 episodes. I'm into that one. The first season's already done. The first season, for anyone who's not really initiated with Vella, take out season, insert part or act, something like that.
Right.
But act one or season one is already done. The first season is probably 17 episodes. And I kind of like the idea of doing something called interludes. If you've read Brandon Sanderson, The Way of Kings, he has 5 parts in that book, and in between the parts are interludes. And the interludes follows side characters that's not in the main story, but adds detail to the main characters and to the world surrounding everyone.
Adds
And
depth.
yeah, and that's what I've done here. So the book's going to be in 3 parts. Season one's already done at 17 episodes on Vella. And then there are going to be about 5 interludes after season one, and those are almost complete. Those follow several characters that are side characters, but will have great meaning later on in the book. So I thought it'd be a kind of a cool way to introduce them and give them their own closed-in arc, kind of
Nice.
get you introduced to them, and then in these interludes, I explain the magic system a little more. You see more of the world. You see, uh, you really learn about thoughts and beliefs of their religious system, which is false. They have no idea about the gods of light, but they have gods, as does any civilized society, you know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That
It's
really sounds cool. Now, are you going to do that with Super Dick also? Are you going to have seasons?
yeah, Super Dick is, so I've got 2 seasons planned. Uh, hopefully I can do 3 seasons. Depends on how freely the creative juices flow on that. But the first season's almost done. There's about 6 more episodes I got to publish before that's complete, and then season 2 is gonna ramp up. And I got so much in store for Super Dick. It's really crazy when I think about it. I really don't know how I thought of it, to be honest with
To
you.
me, Super Dick just seems like the perfect serial character, especially for a humor character, or not just character, but story. It seems like the perfect one because it can just go on and on. I
Yeah,
mean,
as
how
long
many
as I can think of
Supermans are there? How many? Because how many stories were there to tell?
exactly, and that was part of the draw for this idea. I wanted to just write something fun that could kind of keep going. I can come up with the craziest ideas and it would work, because the title is The Adventures of Super Dick. Literally anything can work. Uh, I have an idea for an episode later on where Earth is invaded by these aliens, and they take the form, because we're not going to be able to perceive their natural form. They're going to take the form of what they think is the rulers of Earth, and that's going to be like 7-year-olds, or more like 4-year-olds, because that's how old my son Henry is. So he's at 4 years old. He thinks he runs this house, and from the outside in, you would think, "Holy crap! A 4-year-old tells the parents what to do." That's what the aliens think, and the aliens are going to. There's going to be this 200-foot tall 4-year-old looking human baby that Super Dick's going to have to fight.
Awesome.
It's completely stupid. It's going to be offensive, but it's going to be funny, and I'm going to like it. So
Well, I already like it,
hopefully
but
other people will too.
so on how many approximately are how many words per episode on Super Dick?
Yeah, let's see. Let me think. The cutoff is what's the cutoff? About 5,000.
Mhm.
I try to keep it around 2,000 to 2,500. The episodes originally were well over 5,000, many of them. And when I published them, they were very close to 5,000. And I felt like they were just too long. So I ended up going back in, chopping the episodes down, and giving each new section its own title name. And that was a
Right.
lot of fun because I came up with some dumb names.
Oh, you got some great names. I like your episode names. So about
Yes.
2,500.
Yeah, around
Ish.
2,500 at the most. If I push 3,000, that might be an odd thing because I really don't want to, but I had to because it's just the way it is, you know.
Right,
Sometimes you
right.
gotta,
Something required it.
yeah.
So is that
Go ahead.
also the same size you're keeping the Eliza Ducar a series?
No, not really. Allows you car is a whole different breed. I'm attacking that with the idea that it's already a novel, but I'm just breaking the chapters down. So the chapters and the episodes in that one, again, unplug episode, plug in chapter for those uninitiated with Vella. Uh, they're going to be around 3,000 to 4,000, somewhere around in there.
Okay.
There may be some shorter than that, there's a few in there that's really short, probably around 1,000. But primarily for Eliza Ducar, the episodes would be around 3,000 words. Yeah, the Eliza Ducar and Super Dick, I'm going to end up publishing after the whole thing's complete on Vella.
Right, right. And are you going to keep it up on Vella?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. There's really no reason not to. I don't see any downside to that.
No, I'm not. I love Vella. Vella's I just really enjoy it. I mean, just watching the numbers go up, watching to see if I get any reads that day is a lot of fun. And it's just a new outlet, you know,
Right.
because we're creatives. We crave to create, and it's a whole new outlet that we can go to. On top of that, we now have social media that's so robust that we can go on Facebook just as one place and find 20 people that's maybe not 20 people, but you know, find a bunch of people that's in the same boat as us
A
and can relate.
bunch. There's a whole
And
bunch.
yeah, and it's the whole experience has been great. So I'm never going to leave Bella. I don't think. I don't see that happening.
No, no. And I know that there are many, many, many good things to come. And we are in very early.
Yeah, we are still.
Yeah.
Doesn't
And
feel like it.
so yeah, I'm definitely a villain. I'm definitely a believer in the platform. I don't think I'd be doing any of this if I weren't, including writing for it. It's a great platform. Now, you enjoy writing for it. You heard about it early and knew you were going to get in on it early. You've got a couple of great Vellas out there. Do you also read Vellas?
Yeah, I do. I try to read every night.
Really?
Most nights I end up watching TV and I fall asleep on the couch, wherever my 4-year-old son who runs my life allows me to lay down. That's so, and that's fine. But yeah, I do. I read a couple. The one off the top of my head, I'm really enjoying uh, Bethany Gates books. The latest one was called Help Wanted.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, and that one was really great. It was humorous, but at the same time, there's like a little bit of serious drama, just a tad of sprinkles, a little bit of drama. But the way she engages the dialogue between characters is the humorous part.
Yes.
It's a witty banter that
Yes.
kept it driving for me. That's
Yes.
what really attract. Plus, she's got the formula down. She keeps the episodes short and sweet, and that's perfect for something like Vella.
Yes, she does. She keeps her episodes, I don't know, I think around I don't know, maybe 1,100, 1,200. I was trying to remember what she said.
Yeah, around it's around 1,000, somewhere around in there.
Yeah, yeah. But yes, I love those too. And so I'll be sure and include a link for your shout outs to her Help Wanted, and might as well throw in Attack of the Mattress while I'm at it.
Attack of the Mattress is yeah, that was one of the craziest things I ever read. Yeah, and I read it and I was like, what is this genre that I found? I'd never read comedy before, but here I'm writing Super Dick, and I don't think of it as comedy really, but it
It
is.
is, though.
But it is, yeah, it is. And I want to mention one more because I brought it in my phone because I don't
Oh,
want to
please
mess up.
do.
By Sheila Sellinger, it's Letters in the Wind.
Yes.
Yeah, that follows a soldier overseas in war. And I think I mentioned to her on Facebook that one, it really touched me because I'm a veteran and it really spoke to me. And I got to finish it. I haven't finished it yet.
And Sheila Sellinger's a beautiful writer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So it's be my great pleasure to include that link for anybody listening. So let's see. So, all right. Well, good taste in the Vellas, good taste. And we talked about this a little bit before I hit the record button, which, I do try to warn these guys a little bit some of the time that they'll be asked what would they do to improve Vella. And so Chris and I talked about this before, telling all the people out there. And yes, my face is all in a halo because the sun is like coming straight into my window here. And we did talk about it a little bit before, but I want him to tell you about what he would do if he could do anything in Vella to improve things.
All right. Yeah. So it's a great question. I mentioned to you a website called inkit.com. If you don't know that one, think Wattpad. You might know that one.
Yes.
It's the similar type features where you can go on and communicate with the writer, leave comments by paragraph, leave reviews, leave messages, all kinds of stuff. It's its own social network built for authors. And I really think that Kindle Vella as a whole might be better off in the future if they implemented something like that for Vella, where we could go on our computer and communicate with the readers and writers on our profiles. And instead of me having to leave my app and go to Facebook to get to this group, which I would probably still do anyway, it'd be great to have it all kind of consolidated on one website.
See, I thought that was really cool. I love that. It's a different kind of idea. I hadn't heard it yet.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of was excited about it. And
yeah,
I wanted you to explain that.
What's really thrilling about the idea of I think you said you don't know how you feel about someone leaving comments by paragraph.
Right.
But it's really thrilling to have someone say best paragraph ever, like right here underneath the paragraph. And on Wattpad, I had people do that. It was like a great feeling. And I'd ask them, well, what would you like so much about it? Like, tell me. And they'd come back and tell me back and forth. And it was just really great.
Well, that's pretty nice. Yeah, that's
cool
pretty nice.
Like yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't be as hesitant as I am to put my stuff out there. So I've never put it out on any of those, like Wattpad or anything like that.
I did Inkit and Wattpad and had pretty good feedback, but I wasn't making any money,
Right.
and then Vella launched, and I was like, well, I'm gonna take my stuff off of here and put it on there, and hopefully I can make some money. And kind of doing that a little bit. Plus, I'm getting the feedback through Facebook groups, so that's a plus. So I'm enjoying the experience. 100%.
It is. It's a great experience, and the community is wonderful. I say it every video because it really is.
Yeah.
And without all these great people out there, I doubt it would be anywhere near as much fun as what it is to write
No.
for and to stick with, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. I have heard that before. I've heard just the interaction part, but not quite like you put it. Not quite the way you put it to me before we got to recording was you said it was like a merging of social media and the Vella
Vella app.
stories together,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I thought was the interesting idea there. And something will happen. They've already put the have you seen that they put polls in now?
I haven't seen it, but I heard about it. I'm actually in the middle of a writer's block, so I haven't been on to see anything. I've been taking the last week or so off from writing to get out of it. But
Okay.
so I can't wait to see what that's about.
Yeah. So you treat writer's block with stay away from it?
Yeah, either I stay away from it or I redirect. I get writer's block a lot. I deal with depression a lot. It comes out of nowhere. So
Yes.
I get into these writer blocks where I just can't sit down. I can't write. And so what I do is I just don't write. And I think about it in my head while I'm playing my Xbox or while I'm watching TV, while I'm watching Law and Order SVU or something. I'm thinking about my book. And eventually a thought will come to me that will solve a problem. And that's the aha moment where you're like, okay, I'm back on it. I'll get back to it now.
I'm sorry, my idiot dog was barking and I heard none of that. So you sit there and you kind of let your mind rest while you're doing other things like watching television or Xbox.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
eventually you will have a thought that will solve a problem for you.
Right. Yeah. It's either what was that phrase I just used? Either I don't write or I redirect my mind to a different activity.
Right.
So while I don't write, I might just focus on playing my Xbox, playing some games, work the brain a different way, you know. And then while I'm doing that, I'm thinking about my book throughout my all day, every day. I'm just kind of thinking about the issue, how to solve it. And that's where I'm at now. I'm in this issue now where I'm trying to solve this problem. And I got inkling of ideas, but it hasn't came to me yet. So I'm just taking it easy, not even going to worry about writing until I figure it out, however long it takes. I don't know if that would work for anyone else, but it kind of works for me.
That's pretty cool. I hadn't heard that as a way to cure it, but yeah, I guess it could definitely the redirection for sure.
The secret is you got to get back to it.
Yeah, that would be where I would be in danger because
that's the main part.
Yeah, I have to get a habit going.
Yeah, I've had times where I've been away from writing, a month or longer. And eventually I just start sitting down in front of the computer and try to see what comes out of my fingers and kind of force my way through the block. But that's pretty much what I do. I just either ignore it or redirect. The redirect for me is a trick though. I'll just catch up on a TV show, get caught up on Star Trek or something. And then I'll come back to it after I get done with that season. And I feel fresh. But the problem is I got to go back and read everything that I've already written because I can't remember everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
I don't keep great notes. That's a horrible thing that I do. I forget the color of people's hair, so I got to go back and read. Well, what did I say her eye color was? I can't. So I got to find that.
Yeah, I decided very early on I had to keep a spreadsheet to know what was going on with all the different Vellas, you know,
Yeah.
like and I keep a sheet of notes on every story individually, and then I keep a spreadsheet that shows where I am in publishing episodes for each one of those. So yeah, everybody needs their system.
Yeah. I've come to in my outline for Allows to Do Car, where the character first gets presented, I highlight the name and then put details of their looks with their name right in my outline. I try not to have, for me, I try not to space out my information over different documents or different paperwork or what have you. I try to keep it consolidated to my outline because I just get overwhelmed with too much to do, too many windows. I just get overwhelmed. So I just keep it in my outline.
Yeah, that's probably a really good place to keep it. I pretty much pants mine, so there's no outline beyond what gets written when the story gets written. So
Yeah, pantsing's fun. I do that. I didn't know what that was when I started publishing. I was like, "What's a pantser?" They were like a discovery writer. I'm like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Oh, when you write," I was like, "I used to do that when I was a kid. I guess I didn't. I would just write and see what would happen. I guess, but now I'll plan everything." I said, "Let me try that with this story," and that was the key.
it is a kick. It's
Yeah,
so much fun. So do you say you pants it with Super Dick, right?
yeah. I pants it with Super Dick. I think of an idea. I think of an idea for an episode, and then I think of the opening scene, like a cold open for an episode of a TV show,
Yeah.
and then I catapult off that. Like for example, in let's see, in Super Dick season 1, episode 1, I believe the title is called "Going Viral." Not 100%, I can't recall, but cold open of the episode is basically the cover of the story. There's this giant squid monster rampaging through the city, and Super Dick is on his way to stop this rampaging giant squid monster. Uh, but true to his name, which is Super Dick, he's kind of a dick, and
Oh
he's kind of a
yeah.
glory hound. He doesn't have a filter between his brain and mouth,
It's pretty funny.
and he stops to take a photo op with the the news and whatnot, the paparazzi. So he stands there like a superhero, nice, tall, and proud, while the monster is rampaging through the city, killing folks. And that's the cold open. Then I close it. I don't show him fighting the squid. I don't do anything like that because to me, what I want to get across is it's not so much the action, which there's plenty of. It's this character and just how completely
Clueless he is.
clueless and dumb he is.
Yes.
He's really like a like a 30-something-year-old kid. And
Yes.
then the show just goes the show. I think of it as a show. If you read the book, if you read the story, you're read to by the narrator, and the narrator is his own thing. The
Yes.
narrator's not
Yes.
me. The narrator is its own thing, and you find out who and what the narrator is at the end of the season. And it's going to be completely. It's going to be in line with everything. It's going to be stupid, yet it's going to work. Um, I wish I could tell you,
No, no.
but
I'm gonna have to read it for myself.
and as you're reading the story, The Adventures of Super Dick, the narrator is talking to you, and he doesn't like you, the reader. He calls you the reader. And he thinks it's stupid that he has to tell you the story, yet it's his purpose. And whether I like it or not, or you like it or not, you're going to have to listen because we're both here and this is what's happening. And it's really tongue in cheek. He really doesn't like millennials. He really doesn't like uh, TikTok. He really doesn't like, let's see, he really doesn't like politics. He really doesn't like White Claws. He really doesn't like, he doesn't like anyone or anything, especially the reader, which is part of the hook of the whole thing.
Right.
You're being dragged along on the story, being told the story to you by this jerk who is also a dick. and he has it out for Super Dick. The narrator is sort of he calls himself the god of this universe. And he says in the story that he can manipulate every single little thing, every single person in the story, down to its atom, everything except for Super Dick. And he doesn't know why. He can't touch Super Dick, but he can screw with Super Dick, through other means, through people and through things. Thus begins the season where the narrator begins coming up with schemes to kill Super Dick by creating monsters and causing havoc and creating problems, yet no one knows that he even exists, at least not yet. By the end of the story, everything's going to make sense. It's going to be completely meta. It's going to be insane. I really can't wait to get to it, especially season 2, because never mind. I just can't go there.
Never mind. Don't you even.
Top secret. Top secret.
Top secret stuff.
Yeah.
Well, so if you could say anything to the people who are going to click the links that I'm going to put in this video description to take them out to Super Dick, and as well as the fantasy Eliza Ducar, what would you say to them?
I would say thank you for clicking on my links and checking my stuff out. It's a hard life out here. If you check it out, leave a review. That's what us indie authors live and die by. Leave an honest review, whether it be good or bad. I've received some bad reviews, and I try to take positive from the bad stuff. And one of them I did. I went back and did better. Although I can't rectify the review, it's still there.
Yeah,
but
well,
yeah, but but if you click on my links, Eliza Ducar and the Forgotten Gods of Light is sort of a young adult fantasy fiction story that the story is led by characters and decisions of consequences, and there's love and romance and heartache and triumph in that. And then in Super Dick, you can expect things, you can expect craziness with the adventures of Super Dick. You can expect in Super Dick to see Justin Bieber. You can expect to see Bruce Willis. You can expect to see Santa Claus, but not Santa Claus. It's more like Claus, CLAWS.
WS.
Yep. And he spits out this black vial, and he has little elves that lives in his beard that throws fireballs. And you can expect to see a character called Masturbator.
Oh, nice.
I want to go ahead and throw that out there.
Two words.
This needs some explanation. It's Masturbator, Baiter.
Right.
He's a former from the 1800s serial killer who died and was resurrected. And now he's a ghostly serial killer who has ethereal fishing rods that he uses to catch his prey with. And he's Masturbator. He's a villain. So
nice.
Yeah, there's all kinds of Super Dick is just fun.
Super Dick is fun. And yeah. I can't say that enough. It is fun. Well, I have really enjoyed having you here on Hella Vella, and I wish you the very best with your Vellas, and I will get this up. So all right, let's say bye.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.